Critics used to be people that had some education in film, like knowing film history, studying media, being a journalist for a paper with years of experience. Journalists that had written articles about film for years. Ebert was a well-respected critic, not to say that he was always right about some of the movies he reviewed. Sometimes he let his personal views around the director or a movie slip into what he was saying. But for the most part, you understood that this was a person that had a lot of knowledge about the medium. Today it is very different. There has been a big change with the entrance of the internet and social media. Especially with social media, it gave every single person that has an opinion the means to write it down and share it. And there is nothing wrong with having an opinion about the movie, but I feel as though some take their personal opinions way too seriously. And as I said earlier, you can have your opinion and have it and share it, but if you also make sure everyone knows you are talking about your taste and not the actual quality of the movie itself. There is a difference between taste and the qualities of a movie. For example, all the technical aspects of a movie like cinematography, editing, production design, visual effects, writing, and acting. They are all technical aspects. Yes, acting is way more technical than most think. Every performance is directed by the director of the movie, of course. Everyone starts from the script. But a script doesn't let you know how to say a line of dialogue, and you can say one line of dialogue in many ways. And it is the director's job to get what he wants from the actor in terms of performing the dialogue or action the best. And the actor's job is to use techniques to give the director what he wants. Technically, the director talks with the actors about the purpose of a scene and what is happening in it between the lines. And the actor takes that and uses technical tools to perform the scene and dialogue in the way that the director wanted it to be. And sure, you can improvise, but most of the time improvisation is using different dialogue than what is written in the script, but the purpose of the scene stays the same. So what did I want to say with this? Well, people for the most part don't know how a movie is made. They can just give an opinion on a surface level. They can just tell you what they like and what they don't like. But in general, they know nothing about the technical aspects of how a movie is made. So when people today read a professional review and the critic is negative about the movie they are looking forward to, they automatically start to not like critics, and they usually say things like that critics are always negative or that critics are not needed. And there are several factors to that. Some critics should definitely not even be critics because they are very biased in their reviews. And then the fans or audience member starts to distrust every working critic out there. And that is of course an issue with how today's critics are educated and trained. Many of them think professional critique is an opinion, when if you are an actual professional critic, you should know a lot about the craft of filmmaking, knowing film history, and not just know about what you like and don't like. Because a movie can be a great movie despite not being liked on a personal level by someone. You can share your personal taste and opinion if everyone knows it's not a professional review you are doing. There is a disconnect between the audience and critics, and it's a nuanced problem that comes from both sides of the fence. I personally believe the critical aspect of movie making should still be in place, because otherwise studios can just put out subpar movies and there is no quality control on it. And you can of course disagree with a critic. A critic isn't there to tell you what to think, he is there to give you a hint if a movie is good or not on a technical level. Of course, if he actually knows what he is talking about on a craft level. And I can understand that moviegoers are very distrusting to today's movie critics because of how the practice has been changed over the years. That is totally understandable, but I do think the practice in how movies are being reviewed must change. There should be no political bias in a review of a movie. You should also set aside what you personally think is entertaining and see it more from a craft perspective. Because for the latest decade, I have seen that many critics, especially critics that write for different sorts of online sites, they very obviously put their own agenda on reviews, and they put their own beliefs into the written or filmed review. Ultimately, I think there should be, and that there is, a difference between an opinion on a movie and the movie being good or not. You can dislike a movie for many different reasons, like not enough action, or not enough explosion, or thinking dialogue scenes are boring. But the fact is, all those things are just separate components of a movie, and not the whole movie. Not having much action doesn't mean much if your story and characters are well written. Of course, an action movie needs to have action, but good action movies also have character development and a good story to go along with it. Having things just blow up or having characters fight for 2 hours is repetitive and not an actual movie. A movie is a story and needs to have an engaging story and well-written characters for you to feel something about what is happening on screen. Of course, on a personal level, that might seem boring for some, but we are not watching a random video where you just have events happen randomly for no reason, and they only exist to look cool. You must have a connection to what is happening. Otherwise, you might just as well watch a random action and explosion video on YouTube. And if you like movies where there is just action and explosion, it is all fine. You can still like it. But it doesn't mean it is a good movie on a craft level. You should feel something about the movie you are watching. With this video, I'm trying to define the difference between taste and craft. The difference between pure enjoyment and what a good movie is when it comes to the technical writing and the other technical aspects of making a movie. I'm not trying to devaluate an opinion, but just giving an idea on how a movie gets made. Sure, you have studios that don't care about making a good movie when they have a property with a built-in audience, and that is an easy sell, because if a property has a big fan base, you will most likely get a good box office return. And that is a problem when you just put out content that is subpar, because you know the audience will turn up no matter what you do with it. That is lazy. Studios today are more worried about putting out a product that will sell as many tickets as possible instead of just putting out quality content. So I guess we will have to find out how it goes for the movie industry. If they are going to just focus on safe bets with established franchises, or if they are going to get more creative with their content. And don't get me wrong, I'm all for seeing my favorite franchise getting a new movie in the theater, but not at the expense of quality. This has been Boogeyman Cinema. If you like this video, please like this video and subscribe. Thank you for watching.
Oh,